Hello, everyone, and welcome to Eduonix live training session by Mr. Aditya Dua. I apologize for just a couple of minutes delay for few technical issues which we had. But finally things are sorted, guys. I just wanted to hear on chat. You can just put a Y if you can hear me clearly. Are you able to hear me? Great. Okay, I see a lot of yeses coming through. Great. So, guys, I'll introduce myself. My name is Vivek. I am the co-host for today's session, and I will be helping you guys out along with Aditya with today's session, the activity which we have planned today. So, without wasting much time of yours, I'll just get started. Eduonix is just an e-learning platform. I'm sure most of you are aware, and we have actually started conducting these live training sessions with industry experts like Aditya, who can actually help you out to shape your careers. You can help you out to upskill yourselves in your existing mean stack industry. So right now is the time. Sumit, can you hear me? Am I audible? I see a comment from Sumit. Are you able to hear me? Rest of you guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we. I think we can hear you. Sumit is having some problem.
Okay, great. Okay, I think Sumit, then you just need to maybe reconnect. You should be fine. So guys, we'll just wait for another 30 seconds while we have more people joining in. Just one quick question: which countries are today's attendees are from? So where are you guys from? Can you just put your country name? All right. So we have people from India, Singapore, America. All right. Vietnam, UK. Okay. Aditya, so this time we have got India, Pakistan, Kashmir, India. Okay. Netherlands. Okay. Sri Lanka, New York, USA. All right. Okay. So Aditya, we have a global audience today as well for our session. So I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting one. Guys, a few ground rules before we get started. Just in case you have questions, Aditya is open to answer your questions. So we are keeping the chat open for everyone throughout the session. Just make sure that you are asking the question at that particular time rather than once the topic has ended or we have moved on to the next topic, just to make sure that we are respecting everyone's time and we are not having any delays or any late extension. So we have a proper 90 minutes session today, and this will also include the live question answer round with Aditya. Like every time, it's now become like a ritual with Eduonix. Like every time, I will be your Santa Claus, even though it's not Christmas. I'll be giving away free goodies every time we do. So stay tuned. Make sure you have your pen and paper. Take your water bottle, whatever you can. Make sure you get comfortable for the next 90 minutes. I'll be around, and Aditya is going to take over for now. So Aditya, I'll just put myself on mute, sorry, and you can get started.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
Thanks, Vivek, for that introduction, and we are all waiting for that lovely gift. I hope all of you are able to hear me on this wonderful evening or morning on a weekend. It's very difficult for people to join in. I understand that. So, on behalf of Eduonix, I welcome you all to this mean stack learning. And once we all are good, I'll begin with my screen sharing and we will take it forward from there. I have shared my screen. Confirm me, guys, if you are able to see my screen. Now, once you guys say yes, okay, my pitch is low over here. Is it fine now? Yeah. Guys, are you able to hear me loud and clear? Great. Perfect. Thank you. Now, we will set some ground rules. So the first ground rule is we will try to make this session as interactive as possible. Next is you will ask questions wherever you can. Don't hesitate and don't feel like asking questions sounds stupid. No, that's not the trend. Asking question is the new cool, right? So on that note, I'll start with this training on the mean stack, and we are covering a small project on member management system. We are developing some APIs. Before we move on, how many of you understand what mean stack actually is? Yes, guys. How many of you understand what mean stack actually is? Okay, that's great, Wazir. Okay, you were right. I'm not sure if I pronounce your name correct. Sorry for the spells. Okay. How many of you know what is mean, guys? Yes, yes, yes. Be quick, be quick, be quick. Okay, that means okay. That's great. Okay, cool. Now let us set what we plan to cover. We plan to cover the mean stack, the components of mean, the difference between mean and mern. This is very important. From the point of a like being a fresher or being a learned person, it's very typical, it's very difficult for people to choose between one of these two. We'll be talking about these. We'll be taking all these things one by one: the Node, the Express, the Angular JS, and MongoDB, and we will be working on the APIs for the project. Now, while we move on to that part, I hope you would be interested in knowing about me. I'm Aditya, guys. I did my master's in technology from BITS Pilani. I'm almost having 7 years of experience of working on enterprise level applications. I have worked majorly in the financial domain, so from banking to the net banking application you use or the mobile app you use. I've worked majorly in quite of those experiences, and I've been working on the full stack development with Angular for the past 2 years now. So any questions if you have, if it's not related to mean, if it's in terms of your career prospects, your career growth, I would be more than happy to answer, and I would answer to the best of my knowledge. Sure. So I hope all of you are ready to get started with this journey, and this is what mean stack is. Most of you have answered what mean stack is. Mean stack is Express.js, AngularJS, Node.js, and MongoDB. Correct, guys? Make sense? Yeah. Make sense, guys? Now, why is this stack so common, guys? Why is it so famous? Give us title hints on fusion with. Okay, sure. So, Sandeep, you can use this with Spring Boot, but you have to replace Express.js over there. So, Spring Boot is a Java-based backend kind of thing. So you can use that. That's great, Sakshi. That's perfect. Yes, that is fine. But the question over here is why are industries using it? Now the problem is with this one stack. Now this is very evident that Express.js is a JS, Angular is a JS, Node is a JS. So with one stack, you can learn the entire framework without having to worry about all other things, right? Whereas if you were using a framework like LAMP or WAMP, you would have to have knowledge of multiple languages. Does it make sense, everyone? Now, if this is fine, we will move ahead to introduction with mean. So what is mean? Mean is nothing but MongoDB, Express.js, AngularJS or Angular or Node. And now the best part about this is free and open source JavaScript stack. What do you mean by this? Now, till now, the problem was all the stacks had multiple languages. One had Java with HTML, another had PHP with something, and those were pretty expensive to build on, right? Because you needed experts in two technologies. Now, every company is cannot afford two developers for a small task, right? So it becomes a huge cost. That is where mean stack simplifies the purpose. The best thing about MeanStack is using one language, you can master the entire framework. Any questions over here, guys? Anyone is having? Now, we use MeanStack to build dynamic websites. So, what do you mean by dynamic websites, guys? Any one of you? What do you mean by dynamic websites? Because we had some ground rules to make it interactive, but I don't find you people responding, right? That's not something which I expected. Make it as interactive as you can. Great. Yes. So by dynamic, it means no, Sumit. Because of some issues, we don't allow you to turn on mic. You guys can chat, and it would be great. Because if all of you turn on the mic, there would be a lot of disturbances and noises coming in, which might even hamper the recordings, which will be shared with you in the future. Yes, that's correct. The best part is everything is changing on based on an action. A very good example is, when you go to Amazon, Amazon shows you your username, your profile name, and all of that. How is that possible? Because of the dynamic data which is coming in based on the user, based on the type, and based on different parameters. Great. So now, the main advantage of mean stack is the entire code from the backend to front end is written entirely in JavaScript. Another advantage. The advantage is everything is written in nothing but JavaScript. So now what it means is you don't need to worry about any other part of the language now. And going forward, and so other alternates like LAMP and WAMP, the problem with these were, they had to be written in different languages, which made the work a bit more difficult. So the code was difficult and the maintainability was even higher. On that note, can we move ahead? Anyone has any questions over here? Yeah. Since I understand most of you would be in a position, yeah, cross-platform as your question is not clear, Sandeep. Can you be a bit more descriptive, please? Performance-wise, I would say, see, performance is something which can be taken care by having a high RAM CPU or a high processor CPU. We can take care of that, right? Okay. Yes, it can run in multiple OSs. Yes, that's not a problem. Now, the best part about these stacks is they just need the JavaScript on a client. And nowadays, all the browsers have JavaScript, so it is like it's all fine. Okay, that does make sense, Shobha. That was a good question. So, what is LAMP? Is LAMP stands for Linux Apache MySQL PHP, and WAMP stands for Windows Apache MySQL PHP. Does it make sense, guys? Okay. Can I move ahead now? Now, coming from your background, what do you think does make sense? Having mean or mern, which is your more preferred one, guys? Come on. Yes, yes, guys, be quick, be quick. Okay, okay, sure. Let me help you with it. Now, the idea is pretty simple. The idea is pretty straightforward. Let me explain. Yeah, that's a good question. I'll explain it. Now, mean is nothing but mean stands for Angular, right? So the entire stack remains same, but Angular is sometimes replaced with a React. So this becomes mean and that becomes mern. Does it make sense, guys? Okay, sure. Let me help you with which one is now more popular and which one is more used. Now, so mean stands for Angular based framework. So Angular is a framework and React is a library. Okay, a quick question. Who owns Angular, guys? Yes, guys. Who owns Angular? Come on, guys. Yes, be quick. That's great, Google. And who owns React? Facebook. So this stack is a strict tough competition between the two of the best tech companies known today. So now let me help you understand what is mean. So what is mean is it's a framework. Now, what do you mean by a framework? So when I say that, like anything in the world, like when we talk about policies, about anything, when it's a framework, it means there are some rules to be abided by. So like with framework, there are some dependencies which are always included. Whereas React is a library. What that means is there is no such hard foundation. Even a single import of JavaScript React's library is enough to get started, right? Now, for mean, you need to understand and code in TypeScript. Whereas in case of Mern or in case of React, you can use JavaScript or JSX, another feature, right? Now, the architecture of mean is always component based. Now what do you mean by that? Component is, so whatever you are developing, each thing is a component and you add a component. Whereas in case of mern, though components can be used, but inherently it is not mandatory that you need to have a component to get started, right? Now, the data binding in mean can be either one way or two way, and in mern, it's only one way. Now, what do you mean by one way? Data binding will be covered once we discuss about Angular in detail, so don't worry about this. Now, this is a very good point. Now, DOM. The DOM of mean is regular and the DOM of mern is virtual. What that means? Now, a regular DOM means so whatever page comes from the server, that page is maintained or is created at a server and then is shown, right? Any update happening to the page will lead to the whole refresh of the page. Whereas in case of Mern, the only specific tree or the so what it does is React maintains an internal tree, which is known as virtual DOM. So that DOM knows which field or the exact which element in the tree needs to be replaced. Does it make sense? Now the ease of use is medium and this one is easy. Make sense, guys? Any questions over here anyone has before we move on? Okay. Okay. No, so okay, let me show you. Now, okay, let me share my browser with you guys. Okay, and over here, let me press exit. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Now, if you see over here, when I say google.com, right? Or when I say something like Google over here, I open this Google page, right? Now, when I say view page source, now this whole page source is one page, right? Any update, so this is known as DOM or the document object model, right? Now, any update, if it refreshes the whole DOM, it becomes very expensive for me to make that update. Whereas what a React does is it maintains an internal tree in which it can do this thing, right? Hence making it more faster. Correct, guys? Any question anyone has over here now? If no questions, I'll move forward, guys. Great, thank you. Thanks for that. Okay, Jerry, when you load a page, right? So that whole page, the whole HTML code which comes, this code is rendered once, right? Any refresh on a page, like say you log in, right, or you go to a next page. If for that you need to load a whole new page, a whole new cycle goes. In the thing like you are using Facebook, right? If you press a like button, what do you think would make more sense? To update the whole page or just to update the like button? Yes. So typically what you said is correct, Sean. That's perfectly fine. Now, medium as in this is medium. Why? Because this is a framework based approach. What it means is, so Rohit single pages will be covered, don't worry. Now, this is medium. Because of the type framework binding, there are some rules which need to be followed. Hence, there's a lot of things which need to go into it, right? So the training cycle is a bit more difficult. Whereas React is simple, like it's one thing and you get started. But Angular also single page that will be covered. Angular won't add. No, dynamic components can be added, Shobha. It's not that dynamic components can't be added, but that components will update a whole page, right? Whereas in case of React, it maintains a virtual state internally. Does it answer your question, guys? Great. Now moving on further from here is my introduction to Node.js. So what is Node.js, guys? Now, most of you are, I find most people confusing between Node.js and Node. Don't think Node.js is a JS framework. Okay, before we move on to Node.js, how many of you understand what is a server, guys? Yes, guys. Let's answer this very fast. What is a server? Component that can serve request. Okay, so when you say that, okay, I'm buying a server or I have a new server, what do you mean by that? Okay, that's correct. If it is hosted, that's fine. But what do you actually mean by a server? Okay, Can I say, okay, now most people confuse, like some consider server as a software, some consider server as a hardware. Let me clear all of that for you. Now, a server is nothing but it's a powerful machine which can serve client requests. That is completely perfect, right? Now, but in software terms, all the technologies like Apache or like middlewares, JBoss, WebLogic, WAMP, so all these are nothing but servers which are installed. Now, what it means is server is a machine, right? That machine does not know, the machine is completely blank. You need to explain to the machine that, hey, when a request comes, you need to answer this. Does it make sense, guys? Now, to answer that, we need a server. That is what Node over here is. Node is nothing but a cross platform JavaScript open source runtime. What it means is it's a runtime which can run the JavaScript code. Now, what is actually Node? So what it does is it let the JavaScript developers, or it allows the developers to use the command line tools for server side scripting. Now, what it means is, like say on a page, I when you land on a page, you need to see hi your username. So all that is dynamic pages which is created, and so a user sends a request, that page is created, and a final response is created, which is sent back and given back. Does it make sense? Thanks, Sumit. Thanks for that. Moving on further is, now we often see, like nowadays people are quite confused. Like as a fresher, I understand the difficulty you have in choosing your career. People are confused between languages. Should I go for JS? Should I go for Java? Hey, someone then says Python is really good. AI and machine learning are going really hot, right? So it's, what I say is, just give me a second, please. Now, what I suggest is over here is, it would make more sense to run your application on any language, right? So that is what JavaScript does. That is what Node does. It says everything should be on JavaScript. Okay, now what it means is, so what simply says is everywhere you can run JavaScript. So from the application, from the code, from anywhere you are running, it is very simple to run a plain JavaScript anywhere. From the browser to the application and on the middleware, everywhere can be a simple JS to be executed. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, perfect. Moving on from here is my, people often confuse between Node.js. So by seeing the Node.js, they often confuse, hey, is it like JavaScript? So the JS is just a file name for the extension, and the Node.js does not means that this is the file name is supposed to be Node.js. It's just the name of the product which was named Node.js. Does it make sense, guys? If that is fine, we'll move further to the best property of Node.js. Shobha, there is no difference between Node and Node.js. It's just that it is named as Node.js and people sometimes call it Node. There is no difference as such. It is Node.js only. And it's the name of the product, it's not a file name. Does that make sense, guys? Cool, perfect. Moving on from here is my asynchronous IO. Now, oftentimes when we load on a web page, like when you go to Amazon's website or Flipkart website for that matter, as and when you keep on scrolling up, they keep on pulling more products to match your need. Now, what are all those requests? All those requests are known as asynchronous request. A request for which I don't need to wait for the response is known as a asynchronous request. The best advantage of having a Node.js architecture is the advanced, or the event driven architecture, which allows or which can handle my asynchronous request. This gives Node a great power over other frameworks. Does it make sense, guys? So what is Ajax? Ajax is nothing but a request coming from a front end. Like say you are filing from a JS. Now, but a server needs to handle Ajax, right? That is what asynchronous is. There could be multiple. There could be multiple of these requests coming in. No, no, guys. So the node. This is the next point. Node can have only one thread at a time. Okay, what is asynchronous is, think like this. While you are on the Flipkart page, right? While you open that page, as and when you keep on scrolling up and scrolling up, you find that more and more products are being fetched, right? Now, all these fetches which are happening, right? They are asynchronous in nature. Now, what do you mean by asynchronous is there is no relation between the two requests. So all these requests can work on independently. That gives a great power in terms of processing and a time advantage, because my system is not waiting for the other applications to process the data. Does that make sense? Yes. So yes, what Rohit said is really perfect. That's a very good explanation, I would say. So like what he's trying to say is, you're there is no blocking operation happening, so like as and when you keep on scrolling, it will try to fetch the data, so you won't feel that your system is hanged, in typical terms. Now, moving on to the further and to the next part is my Express.js. So Node was nothing but my paradigm which helped me run Java everywhere. But to run it everywhere, I need a front end and a back end. That back end is termed as Express.js. So what it says is it is a minimal and the flexible web app, Node.js web app, which provides good features. Now, what are the good features? Basically, it provides you an HTTP methods which can be used to create robust APIs. Any questions over here, guys? Okay, over that, I have a question for you. How? What do you think is a API? How many of you know what is an API? Okay, let me see what you have answered and who has answered. Okay, API is nothing but the communication medium between two heterogeneous systems. Now there is one system which understands Java, and other system which understands JavaScript. To make both of these talk, we need a common language. That is where API comes to our disposal. Now, the best part about Express is the ease with which we can create some really good and robust APIs. Make sense, guys? Moving on from here, yes, API is at the server side. That's correct, guys. Now, it's really fast to develop APIs with Express, and we will be seeing it today in our practical project example. So moving on from here is how do you install Express.js? So you can install it by, say, first step is you would make the folder, then you would change it to the folder, and then you would say npm init, and then you install the command. Okay, how many of you understand what is npm, guys? Yes, guys, how many of you know what is NPM? So let me explain this to you. NPM stands for Node Package Manager. Now, what is happening is everything what you are doing, everything by everything, I mean all the packages. So, what is a package? Imagine like to add a small button, I have to add a lot of code, right? So, what I do is I create a small library in which I create shortcuts to create easy buttons for you, right? So and then to give this package to all of the developers, I need a medium. Imagine like this, think like this, like you have a Play Store to download the apps, right? What are apps are applications developed by the developers which you can use. Does it make sense? Now, npm allows you to manage and install your packages for the project. So what once you say npm install express, you can simply install express and get started. Now, I have created a very simple and a very basic example for Express.js. The first thing is it says require Express. What this line does is it tells the system that you need to import Express first. Next is you create a constant Express. So this Express is exported and the constructor is initiated, then I define a port. And then I say app.listen. What it means is let the server or the API listen to the request, and I give it something like this. And then is this is my the most basic API. It says app.get, which means on the server which is listening on this port, whenever request comes which has a slash, then take the request and send back the response. And while whatever the request is coming, a corresponding response can be sent by this way. Does that make sense, guys? Yes, you can say this is somewhat similar to Python, but that's fine, right? Okay. Now listen is okay. Listen is nothing but what it tells is so. Like now, imagine this. So server is how do you let server know that the API is calling you, right? So on the server, you have told that whenever a get comes with slash, this function needs to be called. But I need to tell the server that, hey, whenever a request is coming, you wait over here, right? Imagine it this like a doorbell, right? As soon as, so all of you are listening to the doorbell somewhere at the back of your mind. That is when a doorbell comes, like a doorbell is switched, or someone comes, he rings the bell, and you can understand like someone's it's at the door. This is simple way. So what I'm saying is this is my doorbell. What it means is you keep on listening. If any request comes over here for this specific URL, then send that to respond and end the request. Does this make sense now? No, Rohit, you can run Node on a shared server also, right? So like applications like Hadoop, GitLab, all those are nothing but the things, right? So, but all of these are similar things. Now, the best part and the next part, MongoDB. Though MongoDB should come first because Sandeep, are you not able to hear me? No, so though MongoDB should be first because it starts from mean, but we are coding it now. Now, what is it? So we have understood the express in the mean. Now, what is MongoDB? MongoDB stands for a database which is nothing but which stores a JSON format. Sorry. So what is MongoDB? It's a NoSQL based database model. So what do you mean by NoSQL? There is no SQL rules like table and rows to be followed. Now, next thing is a record in MongoDB is a document, and the data is structured in the form of fields and value, right? Now, MongoDB stores documents as if they were JSON objects. So what are JSON objects? JSON objects are nothing but JavaScript object, right? Object notation, right? Now, the value of field, what you are having, they could be either a document or an array of documents. Okay, right? Queries as in so in MongoDB, you don't run simple queries, right? So like you have SQL for RDBMS, for MongoDB, you have a query like which is known as MQL or MongoDB query language. Does it make sense, guys? Now, what are the advantages? Okay, so Postgres is a SQL database, right? MongoDB is more or less like a NoSQL. So now once you are working on JavaScript, whenever you create an object, that JavaScript object is a JSO, right? And MongoDB stores JSON. So the advantage is whatever REST API's responses are coming, the same can be stored directly without any issues. Hence, make the system pretty faster. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of MongoDB? So, advantages is now, so the documents which are stored, they can be of anything which are there. Now, you can embed documents and arrays. Now, think like this. In SQL, we do joins to fetch data, like say, find all the employees who work for department HR. So I go to the department table, get the department ID for HR, and then I go to the employee table and pull out the employee names. Now all these are joins. Now these joins are inherently expensive on the system, right? To save that, what MongoDB allows is to embed the documents, which means that you don't need to now run expensive joins. Now, next thing is it has dynamic schema. Now, what do you mean by dynamic schema is now this dynamic schema can be used in terms of polymorphism. Correct, guys? Any questions you have till here, guys? Okay, no questions. Great. I'll move further. And how do you install MongoDB? This is a way to install MongoDB on your own machine. But if you are not willing, what you can do is you can go to cloud.mongodb.com and set up a free cluster. So if you go over here, go to once you create a new cluster, go and create a new cluster of tier 0. Now this cluster will be free of cost, which means you don't need to into the hustles of managing a database. So you can use that, and how to use that I'll let you know in the training today. Make sense, guys? Any questions over here, guys? Anyone is having? I'm waiting for questions, guys. Great. Now the last part is Angular. So what is Angular? Angular is a language. Angular is an application design framework. Now, what do you mean by design? So whatever designing or whatever UI UX are doing, that can be done in Angular, and it is used to create efficient and sophisticated single page applications. How many of you understand what are single page applications, guys? Yes, guys. Yes. So what you're saying is correct. Yes. Yes, Rohit. So there is no change in the page load. So the page doesn't need to refresh. So you'll be covering it between, don't worry. Now, next thing is Angular is based on TypeScript. Now, so what is TypeScript? It's a language on which you code in Angular. Now, moving further is now people are often confused between Angular and AngularJS. Now, what is AngularJS? AngularJS is the initial or the starting version of Angular, which was Angular 1.x. And going forward, Angular 1.x, when the second version came, it went to be known as Angular 2, and eventually the JS was dropped, and hence it came forward and started getting popular by the name of Angular itself. Any questions anyone has over here now till now? Perfect. Now, this is a typical mean stack architecture. Now, what I'll explain is what is this architecture all about. So, a client is a like say, imagine you are on a browser. A client makes a request which goes to Angular, which is parsed by Node. Like by parsing, it means it takes the request and gives to the Express. Express will check, hey, do I need to go to the database for it? It will go to the database, fetch the request or the data, create the JSON, give to the Node.js, which will give it back to Angular, and Angular will then display it on the user screen. Any questions anyone has over here? Now, like this question is like something which is more or less how it got popular. Like when we say LAMP or RAM, there also it's not that. So they're also like PHP comes in the middle. So it's just that is the name which got popular. It has nothing to do with this. Okay, I'll explain that. A client hits a request on a browser. That request is like it needs to be created into a JSON, or a button click needs to be captured, which is then sent to the node, which is a server, which then sends it to the Express, to understand or to process the request, Express will check, hey, do I need to go to the database to get it? It will get the database, get the data, return the data, and process that data. And based on the processing, it will return the request to the node, which will then send it back to Angular and eventually will go to the client over here. Any questions anyone has over here now? Thanks, Vishal. Thanks for that. Now, moving on further is our single page application. So this architecture will form your, what do you say? Uh, how do I say it? Like this is the base of entire mean stack, right? If you have understood this, you have understood everything in mean, right? Now, moving further is single page application. Though this is not a part of the medium, but I'm just covering it for your knowledge. Now, whenever what is the single page application is when you load a page without having to refresh the whole page, it can just refresh the small modules it needs, right? Now, SPA makes a lot of use of Ajax and APIs, which can be used to create the fluid design. And then SPA use JSON and XML, which gives application a fluid look. Like you often see that like nowadays in measure of the forms, how it goes is you keep on clicking, filling one field, clicking next. A type design is created. That is all possible because of SPA. Now, what are the advantages of SPA? There is no need to render the complete page, which is like an app-like experience. Next is now since the only data is to be refreshed, which means UI is pretty faster. And since the data is rendered on the client side, which means the application or the website can even run offline. And the next is with the use of CSS3, the sites are now mobile compatible or mobile first. And with this, it gets a responsive web design. These are the advantages of SPA. And any questions you guys have for me over here? Okay, sorry, pardon me for this. Okay, yeah, I'll just read a question. Give me a second, guys. Now, okay, let me explain that as an example, guys. Just give me a moment, please. Now, let's go to Amazon, right? Let me open it in incognito mode so that you don't see anything. I'll start my screen sharing now. Do you guys see my screen now? Now, once I land onto Amazon, let's search for the iPhone 12, which is a new product in the market. Now, once you see over here, you find that this is a page, right? These all are data points. Let this page load first. Now, if I click on 11, what you would find is the data is replaced. There is no need to replace the whole page. The header, this section, the menu bar, the footer, all of those remain as it is. So without having to refresh the whole page, I can get a look and feel of my entire application. That is what is this all about. Does it make sense, guys? Now, with that, that was from the introduction of mean. Now we will move on to the project part. And Vivek, are you there on call?
Yes, very much, Aditya.
Okay, so I'll hand it over to Vivek for 2 minutes. I'll take a small break. I'll just fetch some water for myself. Vivek, you can take it over. And once we are back, guys, we'll be covering on a small example project where we'll be seeing how do we actually develop API using the mean stack. Now, the APIs will be in Express, interacting with the MongoDB and using the Node server. So stay tuned. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you very much, Aditya, and thank you on behalf of audience as well, because I see that the experience is such that even there's no prerequisite required. Person having such even some attraction or even some interest towards this topic can actually attend the session from you, Aditya, because you are actually playing it across as a very layman language to people. I'm sure everyone will agree with me as well. So um, guys, how do you find this session at the moment? Fazila says agree. Okay, thank you. Okay, so while we wait for Aditya to just join back again, I'll just explain you one of the things which I was actually wanted to share right at the start. We as I mentioned, we do have free goodies and free giveaways during the session. Also, this activity, what Aditya is doing, is more on, as you know, it's just a 90-minute session, and to cover the concepts in detail, what we have come up with is something called as an extensive live session. Now, an extensive live session is not necessarily going to be extended a full day session. We don't want to be burdening you with only one day, and that day would be like the entire topics are covered. No, not at all. We are planning to come up with a weekend batch wherein we are actually thinking of getting only 50 students, 50 students, and they will be a part of the intensive, comprehensive, and fully in-depth covered session on Meanstack with a degree, a certification at the end of the 2 month long session. So this is going to be 2 hours each day on a Saturday and a Sunday. And what's the best part is you will also have a one-to-one interaction with instructors like Aditya, and there are quite a few other instructors as well who are actually global experts, and those people will be able to actually help you out. So I'll just share my screen quickly so I can just show you something which I just pulled up for you guys. Just let me know if you can see my screen. Yeah, one moment. I will just share my screen right now. Okay. Okay, one moment. Okay. 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 Sorry, guys. One won't be long. One moment. Okay. Okay. Okay, I am actually not able to get it up. Okay. Anyways, so I let me just explain this quickly to you. So what we are doing is we actually at during this session we're also giving away a few registration chance for each and every one of you. But let me remind you that it's limited to 50 seats. So whomsoever are interested, I will share a link shortly once we proceed further during this entire session. So right now I would get Aditya back onto this activity. So Aditya, are you there?
Yeah, Vivek, I'm there.
All right. Okay. So I apologize, guys. I couldn't share my screen, but I'm fixing that up at the back end while Aditya resumes with his fantastic work. So Aditya, over to you. I will just
Thank
go
you.
on mute. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Vivek. Thanks for those kind words. And it's good to hear that people are finding it useful. And on that note, let me start with my screen sharing. Now, what we have been doing till now was all theory, right? And theory does no value if it is not without any practical experience. Now, let's get started by creating a small project. Let's create a new directory and let's name this directory as a member, or let's say a account project. Now, and over here, now I need to say cd account project and I say npm init. Now, before I init it, let me load it into my editor so that you can get a view of what it will do. Now, I hope all of you are able to see my screen. Add folder to workspace and I go to documents over here. Okay, over here, documents, webinar, account project, I say add. Now, Great, if you're able to see my screen now. Till now, you find that this is empty, right? Now, but as soon as I trigger this command npm init, it is asking me to get some things created, right? So what it is saying is this utility will walk you through to create a package.json file. Now, what is package.json? This is a file which I'll use to actually create and to actually, you know, have the entire dependencies or the node thing added over here. Make sense, guys? Now, let me quickly do the small thing for you. And now it is asking me what is the name of my package. So I say that my package name is account project. I don't change it. The version, I don't change it. No description. What is the entry point? I say that the entry point is the index.js, the test command. I'm not making any changes. And I said, so this is a file which will be created. I say enter. Let me go back to the file and I find that the package is added over here. Make sense, guys? No. Okay, that's cool. While it is adding it, let us add some dependencies which we will be using. Now, so what are the dependencies we will be using, guys? Anyone remembers? I think we were discussing it, right? So the very first dependency would be of the Express. So I would say npm install Express. Okay. Let me see. Okay, so I've got Express, right? Now, I won't be using the MongoDB directly. I would be using something else, which is Mongoose. So now, MongoDB has a separate ODM for it, which is Mongoose, which we'll be using in our session. So we have Mongoose, we have Express, and let me see if I need anything else. Okay, we will also need something which goes by the name of body parser. Okay. Any question anyone has over here, guys? Perfect. Now, so you see that all these dependencies are there. My project is over here. No, we are not using Node Mon today. Let's keep it like this. Let's keep it plain for the day. Now, moving on further, let us create a new file and let's name this file as app.js. Now, this will be a starting of Express example. So I would say var express is equal to require express. Remember this part of the code, guys, everyone? Then I say var body parser. So what is body parser? Body parser is nothing but it says that you need to import the body parser. Perfect. Great. I'll remove this. I would say body. Now what is the body? So request and response both are the bodies which would be importing. Now the var app, which is nothing but the Express constructor called, and then what we will do is let us try to connect to our database. I will close these two windows and I'll go to my cloud MongoDB and I would say connect. I would connect to my application. This is the username which I've got, and I would paste this username. This is a backend code, guys, which I'm writing. Yes, Shubha, we installed it separately. Now, I don't remember the database username. I'm naming it mean webinar. Now over here, and this is over here. Perfect, guys. So now let us try to connect to the Mongoose library. So the next thing is I say var Mongoose. So what is Mongoose? It is nothing but the Mongoose library which I imported. Guys, any question anyone has having till here? Now, let us take a dev URL, which is nothing but the URL of the above instance, and I paste it over here. Guys, anyone has any questions? As soon as this part is done, our next thing is, let us try to connect and see if we are even able to connect to my MongoDB instance. I say mongoose.connect, and in the URL I pass my dev URL. And now this is something which is more from a, so this connection is nothing but a promise which is returned by the global promise. Okay. Now, moving further from here, this is all of my configuration, nothing new. But this is where the game changer comes. To get a DB, I have to say mongoose.connection. This is where I'll explain, promise, don't worry guys, give me a second. While I'm running it, I'll explain it to you, don't worry. I say db.on. Now, in case there's an error, right? On an error, I would simply say that on a console, bind an issue or bind an error, which says console and then MongoDB connection error. Correct, guys? While all this is working, no, this is error is for if in case this connection is not going through. Like say if this URL is wrong, this username and password is wrong, then you would say that you can connect to the MongoDB error. That is different. That APIs would be different. Does it make sense, guys? Now I say var port and I give the port number as 1234 and I say app. This was app. I pass listen over here. Now this is port. I say console.log. Server is up and running. Correct, guys. This is the very basic, a very simple program which is there. Now I would run this. I would say node app.js. Okay, it is running it. So if you see server is up and running and it is able to connect to MongoDB. You see over here, guys? Now let me give some wrong thing. By that I mean, let me remove some error, create some error and let me connect again. Now, once I connect, I see that it is not able to get the promise or it is getting an error. Now I'll explain what is promise and what is it all happening. Now, whenever you are trying to create a like this connection, what is this connection all about? This connection is nothing but a promise which is returned to the mongoose. So this connection is a promise which is given back and stored as this promise so that whenever a request is going to is handled by mongoose, it is handled by the promise variable. Think it like this. Now, when you are about to submit an assignment, so what is it like when you are assigned, you say that, okay, I'll give this assignment by this day. What do you mean by, so that is a promise which you are doing that I can't do it today, but I'll do it whenever the time comes, right? Something like this. So this promise is all about that thing. It is saying that whenever, right now there's nothing to be done, but whenever a connection is being requested, whenever the mongoose need a connection, this promise variable will handle the connection for the mongoose library. Does it make sense, guys? Now going on forward from here is I need to change this. And now I would first close my server and start the server once again. So now the server is up and running. This is what I needed. And now I can do my other parts of the code. Any questions you have? No, Rohit, it will not end the connection because the server is listening. I have not given any part of the code which says that if the database is giving an error, close the server. This is not coded. If you want to do something like this, then you need to say that whenever an error comes, you need to bind a function which will close down this listen method. Make sense, guys? Now, if this part is correct, we will move on further and we will create some really good tasks for the day. Now, what we are creating today is a member, right? So let us see what a member will be all about. So let me go and create a model, a folder, which will be the models folder. Now the models folder has a let's name it as account. What it is says is, so the first thing is it would need the Mongoose library. I'll get this library from over here and I create a schema. Now what is the schema? From the Mongoose, I'll get the schema. So I have got the schema now. I have to create a schema, which is my account schema. Now, a new schema, and I'm just creating two things over here. Let's say a name, which is of the type string. This is required, and the maximum length of this can be 100. Does that make sense, guys? Now, going forward from here is my, let's say, a membership fee, which is paid by the user. So it is type is equal to number, and this is required equal to true. Make sense? I have got a model created, right? So I say from this module, I export, what I export is mongoose.model. Now, what was the model? The model was the account. So what I means is whenever you wish to use, you would use the name as account, and this account would point to my account schema. Any questions anyone is having over here now, till now? Okay, that's cool. Okay, I'll explain this. Now, line 10, what it says is, now this file will have multiple pieces of code, right? This is one schema being created. But how will my other file, I'm coming to that file, how will that file come to know that what is actually the schema which you want to use? Let me do that. Yes, that is quite similar. Now let me create a new folder over here and let me name it as controller. In the controller, I create a new file, which is account.js. Now, what I say, var account. What is this actually, what the account actually is? Now, this account is nothing but a requirement which comes from the models in the model this account. So now what this model will export this particular schema, which is this account, which is captured and then can be used now in this JS file now. Make sense, guys? Now this is also it needs to export something. So it exports a text function, which is a request or response, and this says res dot send. Now what it sends, greeting from the account controller. Make sense, guys? Any questions? Anyone has any doubts still here now? Now what I've done is I've created a controller. Okay, let me explain you this context. This app.js will listen to some part of the code. Now what this part is all about is it needs to listen to the route. Now I will go over here, I will create routes. See, I'm trying to follow the best possible nomenclature so that you guys can follow. Now, what is a route? Okay, let me first create this part, then I'll explain you all these things, and then we'll move forward. Make sense, guys? I know it would be a bit advanced for most of you, but that is how you guys can get started, and don't worry, once you are good, you should be able to handle it. So from the controllers, the account controller. Router.get. Now get is a function from where I'll call the API, and whenever the user passes a /test from the account controller, call the test and return it. Now this needs to export now. I have got this router. Now this router I would import in my app.js, something like this. I say var account equal to require. Now what it requires inside the routes, it requires the account. Now what this account should point to, this account should be nothing but over here. On the app, you need to use, what you need to use is, whenever there is a /member coming in, then use the account. Make sense, guys? Yes. So that's not a problem. Yes, that is more from the angle of JS coding. Why I'm using var is so that you guys don't confuse. Otherwise, it would take a lot of time for me to explain where to use const, where to use val, and when to use var and when to use let. Now, I'll go to my browser. I would say localhost 1234. I would say member/test. So it says greeting from the account controller. Now, how do I reach it? Let me explain it to you. So the first thing is we are good with this part that whenever an API is deployed, it comes over here. In this, we pass that whenever a member URL is found, then take it to the account router. Make sense? Now, in the account router, I am saying whenever you find a URL with /test, take it to the test. And in the test, we do it something like this over here. Make sense, guys? Anyone has any questions over here now? Anyone? Now, let us create some other functions over here. Let's say account. So let's create a function for exports dot account details. Something like getting the detail of all the accounts /all. Now, this would be again a function. This function would have a request, a response, and now what it would say is from the account find. What you need to find is will be a function which can either give an error or will give an account. Now, if it gives an error, if there's an error, so writing this is like writing normal English. So then if it's giving an error, then return something like error fetching account. Otherwise, simply say result.send the account which is passed. Make sense? Now this is for getting all the accounts. Now, but before we get the accounts, we need to create an account. So I say I create a function which says exports dot account underscore create. Now what is this? This is the function. The function will have two things, the request and the response. And what is this request? So this is var account. Now what is account all about? It is a new account. What are the two fields it will hold, guys? First thing is the name, which will come from request dot body. In the request, in the body, there's a name parameter. And what is the next parameter? So in the fee, there is a next parameter, which is fee. I have got now my account, which is created. Make sense? Now, simple thing, I say account.save. Now, how I save my account? I again create a function. It will either give me an account error or an account. If there's an error, let me copy this line from here. Let's say error creating account. And if no, then I say res.send. Now what I send is, okay, member account created. Now let us pass the ID a.id plus a blank space or next line, and let us pass the account itself. Make sense, guys? Now in my route, I will create two routes. So first route is for post. In the post, whenever there is a create, I need to call the account create, and whenever there is a slash fetch of the get, I need to call the dot account details all. Make sense, guys? Now, let me open my Postman and help you to test these APIs. So I would have to read, okay. It is post because it is pushing some data to the server, right? That's why it's a post. Okay, I would go over here. I would say this is a post, a local host, this is member, this is create. In the body, I say the body is of raw type, a JSON, and it has a name. The name is, let's say, Aditya. Let's take Eduonix. And okay, it's not taking properly. Wait, let me fetch it from here. Okay. No, I'm getting it because there is nothing in the field now, right? If I get it, it won't give me anything. Let me show that to you. Because if I get it, there is no user, right? It's blank. Now, I'm creating a member one. Let's say the fee is 500. Okay, what it says cannot use the property of undefined. I'm missing something. Okay, let me see if I made a mistake. So this is the model fee name. Okay. Fee is coming from over here. What it says is cannot read property hash name of. Let me see if my data is pushed onto the cluster. Or to debug that, we have to read it, right? You read it from in between the lines. We'll find out what is the error. So if you see over here, let me show it to you. How do we actually debug these? So you will start from by reading it, right? It says that in the controller, this is the line which gives an error, line number 1623. So if you go to your controller, line number 16, this is the error. Now let us see what error it is having. Perfect. Got it. Thanks for that. I imported body parser, but I forgot using it. So I go to my app.js. I need to say app.use. What I need to use is my JSON of body parser. So I would say body parser dot JSON. Now this, I told you that we use the body parser because we need to parse it, right? And then I say use the JSON and also allow URL encoding, because I would be allowing the URL encoding. I'll be using some URLs. So there I would be using it. Correct. Thanks for this, guys. It's really lovely to have such great people coming in. Now, over here, I would say send. So now you see that the member is created. Make sense, guys? Now, if I go to my system over here, I can see that the member is created. Yeah, I can even see this over here in my server. So member accounts, and this is the member. Correct, guys? Now, let's create a second member and let's send it. Let's create third and let's create the fourth and send it. Now, let us try to extend another functionality over here to fetch only a specific account, right? I go over here and I say, fetch a specific account for me. So for that, what I say is, I say find by ID. Now, what is ID? ID is nothing but request dot params. So we use the URL encoding. This is why we use the URL encoding. Let me explain you how we use it. So what I say is I create a new entry over here, and whenever this is followed by an ID, then don't go to all, go to a specific detail page. Make sense, guys? Now, I'll refresh this one. I'll go to my system, copy this particular field. On my UI, I will pass this. It is still fetching the entire thing. Why? Did it deploy? Let me see if I've saved the files or not. This file is saved. Okay. And is my controller saved? This is also saved. This is also saved. No, this is a fine, right? This is my details function. It seems it's okay. Cool. Now, the best part about having thing is, no, that shouldn't be needed, I think. So now you see we have only one thing fetched. So best part about all these mistakes is, it helps me understand how many of you are able to follow things and how many of you are just, sitting here and enjoying the time. So does this make sense now? We created the two endpoints to fetch all, to create. In a similar way, we can create endpoints for other use cases. So this is a summary of what we did. This is how we created the project, the member system. Like if you want, you can add the bootstrap. We didn't do it because you were using the things. We were just doing the front end things. This is my route. We did this, all of this. And with this, I think I would take. So, any questions, guys, you have for me over here now? If there are no questions, I would take a 2 minutes break. Vivek will take it over from there, and then we can have a Q&A round going forward. Vivek, are you there?
Yes, I am here as well. Yes. So thank you, Aditya. Yes, I actually have sorted my screen issue as well. Just one moment while I'm just trying to get a few things. Guys, are you, just one quick question, are you able to make sense about the concepts, or is there any specific way you guys would like to suggest about training, or how the training can be much better for each and every one of us? So just an open platform. I'm just waiting for the chat. Okay. So of course, Sandeep, you're right. Need to have a hands-on practice. I think most of us, with respect to each and everyone's capability, understanding power, and getting used to it, I think most of us prefer to have a hands-on practice to get a understanding much better before we take it up. Right? That's absolutely correct. So, so just let me finally get my, one second here. Okay. So to elaborate just what you guys just answered right now, what I wanted to just explain you what I was unable to show you before, and actually I can just share my screen. Host. Okay, Akhil, you need to allow me the screen share. I am still unable to screen
I think it's
share
done.
at the
We
moment.
can try now.
One moment. Yes, it's working. Thank you, Aditya. Guys, just put yes or no if you guys can see my screen, or Aditya, if you can just let me know if you can
Yeah,
see the screen.
we can see the screen.
Great, great, great. All right. Okay. Finally, have got the screen up. So, um, what I wanted to talk to you guys all about was the live training. So, someone commented need hands-on practice, need projects to work on. This is the perfect answer for that. Eduonix is actually coming up with something like this, as I mentioned before. 6th March is the date when we kick off a 2-month long journey with our industry experts, which includes Aditya Dua as well. Now, this the current session which you're doing is just a superficial fundamentals being explained. We're touching base on a short projects. Aditya is explaining a live session wherein he is actually creating a few things in front of you so you guys can make a sense of it. But since you want to get along and also get a hands-on practice, this is a perfect scenario. So these are Saturday and Sunday sessions which are coming up. Few seats left. I think about less than 28. There were actually total 50 seats, but I think there would be a requirement. Aditya, I think you will have your task cut out, because we may have overbooking this time around, because there are a lot of people who are showing a interest in getting this up, and we had people even joining very last minute. But honestly speaking, we are restricting it to 50. The reason being, we don't want to be keeping a huge audience and our instructors are unable to give proper justice to each and everyone. We want a personalized attention from our instructors. Hence, we're sticking to 50 seats. So appreciate if you can just come first come first serve and register yourself. So just quickly running through the key highlights. These are the key highlights. You have 15 plus live sessions, over 60 hours of training, as I said before as well, most of us who are like worried about their career options, more not sure. They are smart in their studies, they're good in their theories, they're good with their projects, but not sure about the career as to how to apply, how to proceed, what's the job placement support. Eduonix is there for you. Our instructors who have tons and tons of experience with them in this particular industry are there with you during this session, as well as you will have live projects to work on. Someone asked me, told me that there is live hands-on project requirement. This is the answer which I was talking about. You will get projects and these will be evaluated during the session by our experts. Quickly moving, these are the tools which are covered, so I will not just take more time on this. This one is the one which I was talking about. So in industry projects which we are going to be having as a part of the entire training session. So these are the few tasks. So it's more or less covering major aspects which are in demand at the moment. uh, so I'll just pass it. Aditya, are you back?
Yeah, Vivek, I'm good. I'm here. Thank you.
Okay. So I will share the link for you to register shortly. First, let's ensure that we are completing this session with the Q&A, the question and answers from you. Aditya is eager to answer them. So the chat window is open for each one, every one of us. So please share your questions, your concerns with Aditya. And yes, I'm around as well. So I'll share the link shortly, but let's finish the question and answer round.
Okay. So anyone has any questions in specific with mean stack, in specifics to your career options? I think we can discuss those. Yeah, guys, any questions you have in terms of anything?
Okay, Shobha has a question saying, I'm not familiar with JS and all these components. Is this course of someone start to scratch, rather from scratch, or is there any prerequisite to this course? I don't think, Shobha, there is any prerequisite required. We have our instructors who are actually going to cover major aspects, which will touch base right from uh, a basic level, a grassroots level, right up to the pro level, because that's how the program is actually being designed for all of for all of us. Sumit says, in India, which is more popular, mean or burn?
So like in India, like a full stack is more popular, and that can include both mean and mern. Also, once you are familiar with mean or mern, the switching is contextually very easy and very fast. It is just one language which needs to change. So rest the entire stack remains the same. So I say you can easily switch depending upon the requirement you have. But mean is a bit more popular because it's a framework due to which major companies are relying on mean for their softwares. And mern is relatively new in the market. Yeah. So, Jitin, the difference between Angular and React is in the way that they are created. So, Angular is a framework. Now, what do you mean by a framework is, there are certain rules to it. Like you can't say that, okay, I want to do this. There are certain limitations to it. And as well as there is the ease of work. Now, but to get into that framework, there is a learning curve which needs to be adapted. That learning curve is very fast for React, but from the terms of Angular, it's a bit more difficult. Also, with Angular, there's a dependency to have TS or TypeScript involved, which is again a small thing which needs to be learned prior to learning mean. So in that way, I would say this does makes more sense to start with the mean and then move on to React if you need, because React is all based on JS, and that switch will be very simple, very easy. Yes, that's correct, Jaideep. Yes, generally talking about a full stack developer, like I would say a 40 to 50% of jobs in full stack developer refer to the mean stack. That is mern stack. So Mukul, that is the JSS in all of those. Those are the mern stack files. Yes, mean stack is enough to be a simple, to be a JS developer. Okay. So I think Shobha, this question can be answered by Vivek. Vivek, can you take Shobha's question, please?
Sure. Shobha, other than weekend classes, is there a way we can connect with instructors to clarify doubts? So, Shobha, the best thing would be to enroll for the that is the register for the sessions which are starting from the 6th of March. I think that's the best way because you will have a one-to-one attention. Other than that, I don't think there is a way. We have a bunch of courses on Eduonix which you can go ahead and purchase them, and you can have, if you have any doubts, we have a support team who can help you out. But I would recommend
I think,
you can always get the best advice from the industry expert, which is Aditya.
sorry to interrupt you. I think she's asking that I'm not very sure that, like, if the weekend class is going on, like during the weekday, if there are any doubts, like how do I'm not very sure if maybe
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I
the
think
support
Aditya.
team will be of use to here, right? And maybe you can touch the bases.
Yeah, possibly. Okay. So Shobha, if you're, yeah, okay, got it. So sorry. So Shobha, if in case you have any doubts on the weekend classes, and if you have any doubts on a weekday, what I would recommend is I will just drop an email address wherein you can just draft your query, and we will share it with the instructors who can reply to you on an email. If not possible, if it requires a screen share and maybe a more practical explanation, I'm sure our instructors are kind enough to cover your question up during the next upcoming session. So I'll just drop you my email address. That's my official email address, eduonix.com email address. You can just write to this email address. I'll share it with Aditya, and he can definitely take it up or reply to me, and I'll relay it back to you. Else, Shobha, what I would recommend is first you register, and I'm sure your questions will be answered because we have a thorough end-to-end project training which will be happening for this entire 8 week long session. All right, Aditya, some more questions.
Okay. Okay. In terms of industry, how so in terms of Jadip, in terms of the people, the developers, and the market trend, I would say mean stack is on a rise because of its low cost or less cost in terms of hosting and maintaining applications. Also, when it comes to Java, then you need to have a Java developer and a front end developer. So that all is done by one person, making it a bit more cheaper to maintain from the company end. Rohit, yes, CSS you should. So it's not that you should know CSS. So the CSS basics are covered. So I think 2 hours of the time is spent on that. I think Vivek will cover this in detail, or else you can refer this on the link which is on the website. Okay. Okay, Satish, for Angular projects, I think Vivek will help you with it. Any technical questions which you have for me, I would be more than happy to answer those.
Yeah, Satish. So I would also recommend you to write to me in detail so I can just share it with my backend team, the technical team, who would be able to answer you. This is my email address. I've just dropped you the email address. So since we're almost towards the end of the session, I will just disclose the surprise, or the, what I would say, the suspense, which everyone is wondering, like what's going to be coming our way. So as quite a few of you who are asking about the process or what's the procedure of signing up for registrations. So we have I'll just share one link with you guys, so just let me know on the chat if you're able to get, or rather open the link. Just let me know if you're able to open the link. One moment. There's the chat. Okay, so this is the registration link, guys. What we have done is we have also made sure that we are giving you a particular spot registration bonus. Now, what's the bonus? Let me show you what's the bonus. Now, by the way, this is the certificate which is you will receive at the end of your training session after 8 weeks. These are industry verified certificates which you can use. And this is the one which I was talking about. So block your seats and you can actually avail a 20% discount. By the way, if you check the website right now, you will not get this price at the moment. And why I'm saying make a spot registration right now is because you will actually get a full stack JavaScript developer e-degree for free, which is worth $47. Now, you deduct that $47 along with your 20% discount, which you're getting, you're actually getting more than 50% off on what exactly is being given out on the website. This is just a spot offer which is going to run on the website. So how cool is it? So you get a free e-degree worth almost $50. Then you also get a spot discount of 20%. And you also get an e-degree, a certificate at the end of this two-month long session after gaining a lot of gray cells in your brains, I'm very sure. And of course the career guidance and job placements which are going to be helped out by every one of us. So guys, just let me know if you guys are able to open this. Is this in dollar or INR? So Shobha, I may ask you, if you're based in India, you'll be able to see it in INR. If you're based outside India, you'll be able to see it in dollar. You can of course make the payments in whatever currency you are comfortable with. We accept both the currencies for the registration. So okay, Mukul has a question. So I enrolled last month, however I'm still looking for the class to start, so I will be auto included in the 6th March batch. Okay, Mukul, I would request you to please write to me on this email which I am just sharing once more. I will just check your registration date and I will update you on email as to what's happened and how we can ensure that you are going to start on the 6th of March. Do not worry, we will ensure that you are getting into that activity of going on to a live training. So be rest assured. Just share your email address which you have registered from for the activity. I mean for the batch, and I will reply to you back on the email. Rohit says, can this upload on Upwork? I'm not too sure about your question. What can be uploaded on Upwork? Not sure about the question. Certificate. See, the certificates, Rohit, are industry verified. The certificates which we provide, you can of course add to your resumes. We provide verification as well. And one more thing is, we as I mentioned before, we train you, we equip you enough to have enough tools to place yourself with a proper job. So you are going to be having a lot of career related guidance as well. Okay, Vishal says I am getting, okay, why is it too costly? Shane, I am very sure that we are competitively priced. This is the best price at the moment. If you're checking, it's actually showing $150 as the normal price. With the discount of 20%, I think it's coming down to 120. and plus the $47 of e-degree which you're getting, that knocks it down even below 50%. So you're actually getting more than 50%. So you're almost paying actual price of $75 only, approximately. So I believe I have answered that question. um I am getting early bird offer of 100 using the okay of you provided. Yes, Vishal, that is correct. $120 is the actual price after discount which you would get for making the registrations. It's enough. Sumit says it's enough to land a job. I am sorry. Sumit, if you can just rephrase the question. Vishal, all you do is just go with the $120 deal, because the $47 deal will be automatically added. So, Vishal, just for your reference, the spot bonus, the full stack JavaScript developer e degree, this worth $47 is going to be automatically added to your Eduonix dashboard in the next 24 hours of your purchase. So today, if you're making the purchase, our backend team will make sure that a free e-degree worth $47 is added. This is a premium e-degree, by the way. It will be added to your dashboard for free. Yes, Shane. So to answer your queries, sometimes what happens is, for some last minute reasons, or for some reason, if you are unable to attend the classes during the weekend, which we recommend do not do it, because you will miss out on the live Q&As and the live interaction with such industry experts. In case you miss out, we have a facility wherein we adding each session to your Eduonix dashboard. But again, as I said, keep it as an extreme case, keep it as a scenario wherein actually you are not able to attend for a very, very genuine or very, very urgent reason. I hope you get the point. uh, it's better to have live training rather than having listening to a recorded session, because in live training, in case you have any questions or anything, you can literally give them a shout and just tell them, okay, this is what I haven't understood, so can you just repeat, or whatever you have, it will be answered right away. Okay, it's coming to Sumit. uh, it's a great deal that you are getting project based learning that will find okay. Okay, thank you. If that's a compliment, Sumit, okay, thank you so much on behalf of Eduonix and Aditya. Okay, Vishal. Okay, thank you. Explanation is not for the course; it's only for the e-degree. Okay, Vishal. Let me explain once again. So, if you go onto our website and search for full stack JavaScript e-degree, and if you try to get it, you will have to pay $47. So, what we are literally doing is, if you if you are booking your seat for this upcoming live session with our industry experts, we will gift you this for free. We will not charge you an extra $47. It will be a part of your registration. I hope that answers your question, Vishal. Okay, guys, just for the sake of each one of us, I'll just share the discounted link once again. And lastly, one more thing is, as I mentioned, there's free goodies. So for each and every one of you, I am actually giving a premium giveaway course. No problem, Vishal. I am here to just explain each one, every one of you. Okay, for each and every one of you who has been so patient with us during this session, we have a free giveaway for all of you. Just ensure that you click on the link and enroll for that course. It's a free giveaway. That course is, I think, worth $5 or $7 if I'm not wrong, and that's absolutely free for all the attendees who are Hafiz. This link is actually given to you for free, which you can enroll for Eduonix course, which is worth $7. You don't have to make any payments for this particular course. But the one which I was talking about, which has got the registration link on it, is the one which I'm just sharing right now. Yes, this is the one which I'm talking about, which can help you to get your registrations done at a lower price, as well as you don't miss out on the batch. I hope you guys just saw someone had asked, like he had registered, maybe he had registered, you know, post 50 seats. That is the possibly the reason why he may be automatically enrolled for the upcoming 6th March module. So make sure you don't miss out. These sessions are definitely going to help you with your industry, with the industry experts who are going to help you out with all the training. So guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. I see we have still 32 students who are still keen to talk to us, I mean to listen to us. So if you guys have any questions, please ask them. Aditya is still around with me who can answer your questions. Yes, Mukul, okay, I'll send it once more for the free session, for the free giveaway. Okay, Mukul, here's the free giveaway. Just make sure you enroll for this before this session ends, because it's gonna expire after the end of the session. Hafiz, your question is, I want to become expert and land a job. So is this enough to get a job? Hafiz, see, we are, as I mentioned, these courses are project based courses. We are actually providing you training wherein you will be able to do a hands-on project. So that itself gives you a strength, or you itself adds a lot of tools to your resume, which can make your resume stand out of the crowd. Aditya, if I'm wrong, tell me. You are the better person here.
No, that does make sense. Having good projects, because gone the those days of resume are gone. Now people prefer resumes which have a GitHub link or a Heroku app running to help people understand like what you have developed. So that does makes more sense, definitely.
Thank you, Aditya. Well, okay, guys, I have just shared the link for the registration. So I just checked the backend. I see a few registrations which have come through. Guys, can you just mention who all have registered here, so I can just call out their names and thank them. Hafiz says, I want to ask that after this, I can without hesitation to say I'm a mean stack developer. I think Aditya, if you want to take this up, is that good enough?
That is definitely a good thing to get started, and the projects which are there would really help you to to say. So saying is different, but claiming your say does makes more sense eventually. So those projects would be a good add-on, more or less, I would say. I think that answers that question of you, right?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Aditya. Yeah. So Tajuddin Sheikh. I'm sorry if I've got the name wrong. Yes, you raised your hand. Please share on the chat your question. Aditya and me will be able to help you out. Guys, in the meantime, as has any one of you enrolled? Quickly, just let me know. Okay, Tajuddin, you need to explain what exactly are you asking when you say mern course. Sorry. Oh, great, Vishal. You have enrolled for the registration, I mean, the live training sessions from the 6th of March. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Vishal. Okay, anyone who has also enrolled for the live training? Because this, as I said, this is just like this. Even though without a discount, we have a lot of response from people who are interested to just pay and come for it with the names of the industry experts, with the amount of people who are actually helping out, with the previous batches who have had tremendous experience. We started this activity from January, and we had people who actually had a lot of positive response, and people are actually impressed with the way Eduonix has been able to take care of it. So Sumit will enroll tomorrow or might be in a week. So I am not sure about the offer pricing, because see, I'll be honest, the seats, first thing, the seats are limited to 50. We're not going to extend it, just as I mentioned before. Shane says, can you confirm if I am registered on MeanStack Live? I've just registered. Okay. I will just quickly share it with, I'll just ask my backend team in the meantime. Guys, if you have any questions, because it's almost past the time which we had allotted for the session. So we respect each and everyone's time. So I would request, if you have any questions, or if you want to just enroll for the live training, please do enroll. This is the last time. I'm just sharing here. Shane saying I paid a high amount. I'm not sure what the high amount is, but as I said, I'll check it with the backend team. Shane, um, it's okay, $120. Okay, by the way, you're also going to get the $47 worth free e-degree for free. That's $47 again knocked off. So you virtually got that e-degree as well added to within that $120. So yeah, Sumit, I would request you to go for it. Uh, what I can do is, I know that some people are not decision makers, like impulsive decision makers. I respect that, and there's no harm of being not being an impulsive decision maker. So Aditya, I think, can I just wanted to ask you as well, do you think we can just keep let's say a 48-hour window for the people who want to just think over it quickly and then enroll for it, and I still keep this offer open for them? What do you think?
That definitely does makes more sense. But at the same time, I think, yeah, that does make sense. Sure.
All right. So what I can do is, Sumit, just to answer, what I can do is I can roll out the offer on email, which will have the link, but that is going to be valid for the next 48 hours. All right. With the same offer, 20% off. And once you're enrolling within the next 48 hours, you will actually also get that e-degree, which I promised on this webinar. So no problem. Okay. Shane, okay. Shane, if are you talking about your dashboard, your Eduonix dashboard? Okay, so relax. As I mentioned before, the system is designed in such a way that we ensure that the promised e-degrees are added to your dashboard within the next 24 hours. Do not worry. I have a complete track of our attendees and their commitments. So do not worry. It is going to be definitely added to your dashboard within the next 24 hours. Today being a Sunday, most of our backend team won't be working. It's just few people who are working. So we will ensure that tomorrow being Monday, we will ensure that all the people who have registered and all the people who are going to register, Sumit, especially you, who will register within the next 48 hours, will get the e-degree added to your dashboard. All right. So Shane, in live training, I'm getting full stack in progress. So Shane, do not worry. This is just an acknowledgement. You will also receive a confirmation, as well as our backend team will coordinate with you via email to ensure that you are getting a proper flow of what's coming up from the 6th of March. Rest of you guys, if you guys have any questions, or else we will have to end this session today. It's been really, really helpful, and thank you for being so appreciative and being so helpful, as well as knowledgeable crowd. I would say the audience was knowledgeable about what they're learning. So thank you, each and every one of you. I thank Aditya on behalf of Eduonix and the entire audience for sharing his valuable time. And in fact, we have stretched him over an half an hour than the allotted time. So sorry, Aditya, but that's actually during the entire flow of the conversation. I actually tend to extend it. Sumit, thank you for your comment. Uh, Shane, I would recommend, Shane, any questions you have, since we're going to end the session, I would suggest collate all your questions and just mark it to me on my personal email. Vishal, thank you for your comment. Really appreciate it. Just mark all your questions regarding your issues or your concerns. Shane, do not worry. I will ensure to answer each and everything on email for you, on my official email. So do not worry. We'll end this session shortly. Thank you, each and every one of you. You guys can leave. Thank you, Shane. Thank you for your understanding and being so patient. Yes, Aditya, you have anything to say before we leave?
I would say thanks team, and thanks the Eduonix team for ordering this wonderful webinar, and also the participants who took out time from their weekend and to have a session with us. So thanks all of them, and I would say that keep following the website for all the upcoming courses and the free live trainings and the live training as well. So with that, I think that's all from my side. Thanks all.
All right, Aditya, thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Shobha, for the kind words. Guys, we will have some more live training sessions coming up, but this one which I was talking about, 6th of March, is the day which a very special day. Guys, make sure you enroll for this and don't miss out. If it's beyond 50 seats, we will close the registrations. So don't miss out. All right. You will receive an email which will be also a feedback mail, also an email which I was talking about, the special offer. Also, we will share the recording within the next 24 hours on your dashboard, along with the PPT which Aditya had used. I mean, the notes which Aditya had used during this session for you to refer. So within the next 24 hours, that will be added to your Eduonix dashboard. So guys, have a good Sunday ahead, whatever's remaining from wherever you are in the world. And I'll take your leave. This is Vivek, and thank you so much for attending this Eduonix live training session. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Bye bye.